Welcome, friends. This is IGN's Unlocked show, the world's #1 Xbox show. Ryan McCaffrey here, Destin Legary, Alana Pierce, and the great Mark Medina back for another visit.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, buddy. Look at that pregnant pause. I like that. Just for dramatic effect.
That's the thing.
Marty died.
He's gone.
Dead.
Coming up on this week's show, the Xbox One X is finally pre-orderable and off to a tremendous start, exceeding expectations. We'll tell you about that. Plus, as one new Xbox rises, another rides off into the sunset. We'll tell you more there. News on Telltale's Game of Thrones series. South Park, The Fractured Buttholes ESRB rating is amazing, and you need to hear it, and a lot more. So let's start with our conquering, returning, triumphant Gamescom heroine.
Hello.
That being Alana Pierce. Hi. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I was at Gamescom.
Destin was.
didn't go.
How are you holding up, Destin?
Hey, I don't think...
I'm better now.
Did you play Crackdown this year?
No.
Because if you did, we really, really want to know about it.
They did have a sign for it, but no. But we did get to play both PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Xbox build, which we should talk about
On a
first.
PubG, as the kids call it.
Yeah, so we have to say it's the Xbox build, but we played it on a PC, and the reasoning for that was it's being developed on PC, so that's basically the way that we had to play it, but it had all of the controller functionality and everything like it should normally have. And
so it was kind of like playing the Xbox version.
it should be exactly the same because it's running... It thinks that it's running on an Xbox, so it should be completely one-to-one. The only thing that was absolutely terrible was the opening menu. You would like press A to start, and it would take like 5 seconds. You'd be like,
So you're like, did I do it wrong?
yeah, that was the only thing that was truly, truly terrible.
In development software, this is what happens.
Aside from that, I think Xbox gamers are going to be really happy with the way that this runs. What was the difference to draw distances, Destin?
I don't know. There was some weird thing with the draw distance, but I don't.
It was like slightly different, but nothing like particularly bad. The game still looks like crap.
You can
because
still
it
see
looks
players
like
and
crap.
everything. It's not like you can't.
How's the
Exactly.
frame rate?
We don't know about the frame rate. They are aiming for 60 frames a second on console. That's
Great.
no mean feat. That's going to be tough, but that's
On
what
the
they're
X
aiming
or
for.
on regular Xbox
I think
One?
it was both.
That'd be great.
I think they.
I
I
feel
think
like
it was
it'd be-
both.
I would have to go rewatch
Yeah.
the interview, but we
Yeah.
actually got to sit down during Gamescom with Sammy King and the executive lead for PubG and talk about a ton of questions that the audience
Excellent.
had.
Yeah, I believe the quote was like, "We are aiming for 60 frames a second on console." So we don't have confirmation on that whatsoever, but that's what they're going for. But yeah, it to me didn't look any different to the PC version. But
Right.
like I was going to say, I don't think that means much because I don't think that PUBG is a very attractive game anyway. So it's like
Yeah,
that's
it's
not what you
definitely-
play it for.
Yeah, it's a
more about the
gameplay
gameplay.
first game.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
So like I don't think that matters even if it's not. But there weren't any like noticeable or major differences.
I'll tell you, I mean, not only is the Xbox going to bring this game to a much not bigger, but a new audience, but the Xbox Live features like clubs and groups are going to be fantastic for that.
Well, it's
game.
also that the Xbox audience is already an audience that is really used to playing multiplayer shooters. Like it's a perfect fit for the platform, and I think that this is
Definitely.
going to go down really, really well. Anyone who hasn't played PUBG, like it's kind of hard to explain why it's so good, but it's really because it's just so intense.
Yep.
And I think people are going to love it. I'm really glad this ran as smoothly as it did, especially considering it's in such early stages that we weren't even playing on the console. So
We talked
all
last
good.
week when you guys were gone about because we were recapping the 90-minute briefing thing that Xbox did, and the end of their PUBG trailer was late 2017, and we sat here and we thought that probably in this case, because it's going to be going into preview, it's not a retail release,
Yeah.
that probably literally meant December. Did you
Yeah.
guys get any sense of that from the interview or from talking to them?
the interview was full of we don't know yet, a lot of we don't know yet. So I think it's absolutely going to be as late as possible.
Yeah.
Obviously you did the interview, but like I had to watch over it again to write my preview. And one of the things was like a thing that we probably both liked the least is that the reload button is Y.
It's very strange. You go to X,
Right,
or
because you're so
even
used to
B.
X.
Yeah, X is
Yeah.
sort of the
Y.
universally accepted
Yeah.
default on a shooter on a game.
So
pad.
Yeah.
what is X?
X is open doors and pick up objects. Yeah. So I feel like that's a really weird.
Just switch those. Let's just switch those.
Right. So he asked about that, and their response was something along the lines of like, "Yeah, maybe we don't really know yet." And we asked about
They're
like
figuring out
cross-platform.
a lot.
They really are. They all of the answers were like, "Yeah, we could do that maybe at some point."
And hopefully they'll just allow for rebinding your
Remapping,
keys.
yeah.
Exactly.
Remapping your buttons.
Yeah.
He's probably just going there press for press. I mean, you can plug a controller right now into the build that's out today.
It's not
and
super
you can-
optimized for that though, right?
I think they literally just updated.
Oh, no
Because I
way.
played last night and I'm like, that's the backpack from the Gamescom build. Like it's a
Interesting.
little different.
Interesting.
So not backpack, but the parachute.
Does that mean that jumping is better? There's
I don't know.
this weird thing where jumping on console was way easier. Like all the time in PUBG, I will either kill someone who's gotten stuck trying to jump over a wall, or I will get stuck trying to jump over a wall.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen in this build. I was like, wall ain't nothing. Just jumped right over it. So it's either that people playing on console have smaller hitboxes, or that it's an updated build, which is more likely. Like we had a build that fixed that.
Pushing them a little bit about the vague terminology they used about launching on Xbox and will you ever come to PS4? If you're waiting for it to come on PS4, it sounds like that is a long ways
Yeah,
off.
you were in a you were playing detective on Twitter with one of the I think community
Sammy,
managers.
who was
Yeah,
actually on the
something,
live
yeah.
show.
Oh, that okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And that I saw that Twitter thread cited all over the place.
Yeah.
of people just picking that apart because they were.
I thought I asked the question clearly. I'm like, wait a minute. The way she answered it,
They were
no.
so she was so deliberate in her phrasing. It's like, okay, yeah, it's probably coming to PS4 way later.
I think it is definitely going to come
Which
to PS4.
why wouldn't it, right? But yeah, it's
But-
absolutely not going to be anywhere.
Well, because
on another console
they
for
really
quite a
are
while.
like, this is a game with 100 players in a match is a lot for a console. And they are putting everything they can into making it work on the Xbox version first. And then like they'd have to basically get it to work on Xbox, which it doesn't even necessarily yet. And that's going to have a ton of updates, like maybe over 12 months. And then maybe the final release will be on PS4. That could be forever away.
Yeah.
And then just save.ps4 and then we're done.
I mean, Tomb Raider.
Sport.
Tomb
I was
Raider
gonna-
was a year.
I was going to bring up
I think
Rise
this
of
will
the Tomb
be.
Raider.
I think this will
It
be
took
a
about year.
lot longer than that because of the
I
way
do
the
too.
development is
Talking to
happening.
them and like just based on their responses during the interview, they're just like, look, we need to figure out Xbox.
Exactly.
This is new waters for us.
Yeah.
We don't know what we're doing, and Microsoft's helping us so much. Like, we're not worried about PS4 right now. So if you're waiting for PS4, you're gonna be waiting a while. That's how I felt.
And they even admitted to not having a lot of experience developing for consoles, so I don't think this is going to be a thing that turns over really quickly. Like, it's super annoying that we don't get clear-cut answers, but I definitely think this is going to be
Because he's
Xbox
like
first.
forgive my ignorance on like, but he's like a modder, right?
Brennan
That's
Green,
where he
yeah.
got his start. I
So
think.
like,
Yes, but he was not on the live show.
No, it wasn't him.
right.
I
so
did talk to
I'm
him
just
before
wondering if
that.
it's like a thing where it's like, well, he's so used to PC that it's like, hey, can we bring it to consoles? And he's like, I don't.
It's definitely been
know,
built for
like,
PC,
That
for sure.
infrastructure, like I don't know how that works.
Totally possible.
But
And it's
That's why
got to
they
be
need to
tough for them trying to figure out when and what to release on Xbox this fall because it's going to be a game preview game. It's not done. They're not like they don't have a definitive like, well, here's our finish
Launch
line.
date. Yeah.
Let's just get there. Like, no, they're having to decide which in development build, which preview build of this
Yeah.
are we comfortable releasing to the public and charging, however much money it's going to be for the preview version. That's you remember, like, we're going to talk Ark Survival Evolved after like 2 years in preview is finally out in retail now, and it's like, and that was, I think it was $35 if you got in on the preview version. Now it's a full $60 game. I'm sure PubG will probably be the same on Xbox, but that's got to be a really difficult decision for not only for the team, but I'm sure Microsoft kind of has to. They may very well have a say in that a little bit as well. Of because the whatever they put out is going to get played by probably hundreds of thousands of Xbox players this fall.
And they could love it and
But
embrace it.
Right, but if
or
it's
they could be
a
like, "This
little
does not
too
work."
broken, it could
Right.
that could cause a lot of headaches.
I'm going to be honest. I think
for
this
the
is
team.
going to be an enormous success,
Oh, of course.
kind of regardless of what build. But you're totally
agree
right.
with it,
The
yes.
decision-making process is really hard.
gotta
First
be
thing people are gonna do: remap their controllers.
Probably. And one thing that I
gonna do.
have concerns about is they want cross-platform play. And I don't know how that's going to work because
It's
this
like
is
a bad idea when it's a
such-
shooter.
But it's such a fast-paced shooter. So there's
Even
things
worse
right?
for
Exactly.
console
So it's
players.
like everything, like organizing your inventory takes slightly longer. That's an extra millisecond you can get shot in the back.
Very
I
true.
think that's so important to this game that I hope that if cross-platform is allowed, that they have it be optional.
Like Gears of War 4.
It needs to be like that.
Yeah, where it's opt-in.
That's the only way I think it can work, but they didn't have
Because
an
on
answer
PC
that
you
either.
hit tab, you drag everything over, you're
Exactly.
equipped, you're good to go. On console it's X, X,
Yeah.
X.
It takes
Go into
longer.
your inventory, move it around and such.
I
You do
didn't
get
think-
stuff equipped, but it takes longer.
Absolutely.
Definitely longer.
I didn't think that changing weapons or changing the fire rate took too much longer because that's like left and right on the D-pad and then down to change your fire rate. And
Yeah.
I think that worked pretty well. But inventory, picking
Getting
stuff
set
up,
up initially.
definitely a huge difference that I
So
think they need
how
to
does
take seriously.
how do the aiming changes work? So like, do you squeeze the left trigger and you do your aim, but if you like tap it, that's when you go into first person?
If you
like,
double tap left trigger, you go into your first person mode for aiming. That was
Okay.
something that was an adjustment. So like you hold it and you kind of do the side
just
aim,
kind of like do the
and then you
zoom
double
in.
tap, you do first person.
Okay.
And but actually when I was shooting, I was landing hits pretty well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there was an auto aim, which like I think is really important because auto aim I think could kind of ruin this because it's a game about finding out where enemy players are, and if your gun gives you an indication of where they
Right.
are, that ruins that. So I think
Well,
you can't have auto
the
aim.
game is like super built on like leading bullets and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
like you don't want auto aim if a guy is a certain distance away running from one side of your screen to the other. You don't
Yeah.
want auto aim because
No.
you need to be able to lead
The shot.
Yeah, and
lead the shot on him. You don't want something pulling you to the guy.
Aim assist on a first. I'm not a developer, but I have spoken to Jamie Griesmer about this exact subject. He basically did the controls for Halo at Bungie on the original Halo on Xbox, and yeah, it's apparently it's a really complicated thing where. You don't want to just make it automatic where you could just put the controller down and it'll just
Yeah.
do
Right.
it all by itself. But you've got to find that right balance of helping make the player feel like they're successful without completely holding their hand. I don't envy any programmer or developer having to figure that out.
Destiny 2 on PC right now, people are plugging in controllers, and like I play with controller on PC and I'm faring pretty well. And
Yeah.
PC players are like, something might need to be done about the amount of aim assist happening there.
Interesting.
So wait, you automatically get aim assist just by plugging a controller?
There is an aim assist thing for the controller, or at least that's what
Interesting.
I've heard and I understand. And obviously keyboard and mouse doesn't have that. But
Yeah.
you have more precision.
That's interesting. Well, it's like they're obviously for cross-platform going to need to find ways to give console players a slight advantage in terms of time. I just hope that aim assist isn't one of those things. I hope that that's not something that they're like, if we add this in, it'll like cancel out the disadvantages. But I didn't have trouble aiming while playing at all. Like I didn't find it
In
difficult.
PUBG, yeah.
On the Xbox build. In general, though,
Aiming felt really good.
yeah, I
Actually,
thought so too.
I
Yeah.
that's one thing I liked. I'm like, I feel more in control here. When I play on keyboard and mouse, the mouse is so sensitive. I'll like shoot, but when I shoot, I move the mouse a little. It's just because I'm newer to keyboard and mouse control.
Yeah, and I guess that's also your sensitivity settings and everything like that. But yeah, in general, I think that this build felt really good. I'm really excited for this to come out on console. I think it's going to do incredibly well, and I think this is something that, because of the success of this game and how fast it keeps growing, I think this is a console seller. I think this is a reason to buy an Xbox One if you don't have one already.
And I tell you on that note, the timing of it may for Microsoft for the Xbox may prove to be almost as perfect as possible in that there's no Halo this year,
Yeah.
this fall.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no Gears this fall. Yes, you have Call of Duty World War II is probably going to be big on all platforms. Star Wars
Destiny.
Battlefront 2,
Yeah.
Destiny, sure, but there really isn't that first party game out there to
Kinda
distract or
cannibalize.
cannibalize. Thank you.
It's part of the reason I was pushing Sammy so hard on Twitter. I'm like, give us that answer so I can be like, this is a huge win for Xbox. And it turned out it is.
Well, that's the thing is, if it were actually Xbox exclusive, they would be screaming it from the rooftops.
Oh,
That's the
yeah,
reason
yeah.
it's not, right? It's like there's no reason they wouldn't because it's such a huge win. But I like you were saying, I really do think it's going to be a long time before it's out on PS.
Yeah, which is like the fact that they have this holiday window to sport the game and be
Yeah.
the champions of it. That's
That
huge
said,
for Xbox.
because this mode has been so successful, there is no way that a bunch of other games aren't going to implement these modes. Like
They are.
Oh,
EA,
Like
Yeah.
Grand
I already
Theft
know-
Auto 5?
I already know of one that I'm not supposed to say yet. But
yeah,
it's
like
I
GTA
think
5, it's like
we'll
it's
see
going
it.
to happen more and more because
Yeah.
everyone's like, this is so successful. Let's like
And now H1Z1's ripping it off.
Oh, man.
That's a joke.
Jay-Z.
We talk about this a lot, like games and are susceptible to trends and
Yeah.
waves of things too.
Yep.
Look, when Halo ODST, Halo 3 Firefight, and Gears Horde mode,
Yeah.
kind of both hit at the same fall. Then Horde modes, the sort of
Horde modes in
four-player
every-
PvE thing,
yeah.
became a huge thing in so many games at the time.
Going
and,
massive.
Well, in
Yeah.
open world games.
Right. I mean,
became
open
like a
world
trend.
games.
Well, I
and
think the PUBG's a really interesting case because it was basically Arma, DayZ, H1Z1, PUBG, and like they've all been successful and increasingly gained traction. But I think this is the one that was like, oh, this nailed it. Like
Yeah,
this one is
it's-
the one that finally like pushed all the AAAs
I
to
feel
be
like it's
like,
the one that someone like me who doesn't play a ton of multiplayer games is able to just play it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I understand everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And in a lot of cases, there's
and
no
it's
even
not super PC demanding.
right.
So
There's,
that helps.
yes.
there's not even necessarily an explanation for why this is the one that sort of
I don't
rockets up into the stratosphere. I mean, it's no disrespect to PUBG, but you look. I mean, a lot of like Warcraft was kind of like that for Blizzard.
I was gonna think, like-
Warcraft was hardly the first real-time strategy game. I mean, you had Dune back in the day and some other stuff, but then Blizzard comes along and just kind of refines
Well,
it
and they
just
got the
enough.
success
and
with World of Warcraft as well. It became
Overwatch.
it was an MMO that
Yeah.
people understood how to play
yes.
and could run on literally any
Yeah.
computer.
Like
And
EverQuest was
that's
big,
what-
but then WoW comes along and off it
Yeah,
goes.
but then it's
People
like
were like,
Overwatch is just killing it with hero shooters, but it's like almost to the extent when no one else is going to make one because it's too big. Everyone's
right.
like, how,
There is
how
that.
do we
Yeah.
like
That's
maybe
another trend. Hero shooters. That's like a thing right
That's
now
true.
too.
Well,
I feel
sort
like
of.
that's kind of now on like Wayne.
yeah,
Right,
well,
because
yeah.
Overwatch
I feel
is
Like,
Yeah.
oh, Overwatch 1.
I
Okay.
think Lawbreakers was
Exactly.
like the last of the,
Lawbreakers.
you know.
It's almost like Blizzard are really good at making games.
It's
Right?
almost as if,
Yeah.
almost as
Who'da
if
thunk?
they're incredibly talented
Yeah.
and really good at what they do.
I downloaded the Destiny 2 beta, and then I see all my Blizzard games because I just
Oh, it's
for some
Battle.net,
reason I
isn't it?
just didn't have the Battle.net launcher, so I downloaded it. And I see Destiny 2, and I downloaded World of Warcraft. I'm like, while I'm here,
We'll see you in a year.
while I'm
Be
here,
lost in Azeroth.
Man.
I have to say my other favorite part of Gamescom from watching here at home was our Australian senior editor from our AU team, Lucy O'Brien, watching,
New Zealander.
just living vicariously through her, just being so happy for her as she experienced Cuphead and Sea of Thieves
Yeah.
for the first time. I was like, oh, I know exactly where you are right now, and I love it so much. She put up a great piece on Cuphead, or
Cuphead is real hard.
and it was about the dip, but she was like,
Ooh.
it crushed me, but I loved it. I loved it so much.
It's a really good kind of hard. I was playing it for a pretty long time and like could not pull myself away because it's the kind of hard that when you screw up, it's your own fault and it's not the game being unfair.
yeah.
Like I didn't, not trying to inside a console war, but like with Crash Bandicoot, the issues that I had with the remaster this year was that like it felt like too unfair, and it was because of the changes that they'd made to jumping. Like I feel like that's an easy comparison. It's like it was just like slightly too difficult where I got annoyed with it, whereas this was like, this is difficult, but I love it and I will end it. Like it was, it's so good.
I'd like to point out 1 month from today, we're recording on Wednesday, August 30th. Cuphead is out.
Oh, yeah.
Finally.
Stuff.
Yes.
Also,
Finally.
I finally got into the Sea of Thieves alpha, like the insider.
While you were at
So
Gamescom.
jealous.
Right. While the first one I was invited to be a part of was during Gamescom, so I couldn't get into the damn alpha. But next time I'll actually be able to, which I'm really excited.
You were in a place that had Sea of Thieves there, though. So
I was, and it's also going to be at PAX this weekend. So.
Yeah.
But I just want to play it for an hour, not 15 minutes.
I
you
know,
Like
right?
I want to just play it for a long time.
If you're, I guess on that note, I'll say if you're going to PAX and you're an unlocked listener, you've heard us talk about this game. Maybe you think, God, I don't know, it doesn't sound that great. It sounds, kind of boring, or there's not.
Try it.
Play with some friends.
Please, whatever the line is, the inevitable line to wait to play Sea of Thieves, wait in it, and I can almost guarantee you that you are going to.
I mean,
find
2
the
years
wait worth
in
it.
a row, it was the most fun
Yes.
experience I had at E3, and
Yes.
I don't.
I have to
that's
play
not
it because I'm
exclusive to
not
me.
super hot on it. Like
Yeah, play it.
to me, it doesn't.
Right? You haven't played it yet,
But
though,
I haven't
right?
played it.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like
You gotta try it.
I'd love to try it because to me, I don't know. I cut like a let's play, and to me, I don't know. I'm just not super hot on it.
We know for a fact that Craig Duncan and a lot of the Rare team listen to this podcast.
Hey,
Please hook the
get
rest
me
of us
into
up.
a beta.
Let us into the
It's-
beta.
Let me play the game.
Hey, we all want to play the beta.
I know Marty got in too.
Yeah, so did my mom.
So did
Your
your
mom?
Oh, great.
Because I tweeted about my mom, like she texted me during E3 and was like, "What's the pirate game?" I think it's on Xbox. It looks amazing, and like she just really wanted to play it, which almost never happens. And so I tweeted out and was like, Ray, you've officially made it. You got my mom's seal of approval. So like, do you and your mom want to play this game? And like, it's gonna be the best when we actually can, because she's in Australia and I'm here, and it's like we just hang out in Sea of Thieves.
4:30 Pacific time here will be
the only time it'll work is around 5
you play
PM.
around the end of your work day here. That works out perfectly.
It'll be great.
Yeah.
It'll be instead of like our regular phone calls, we'll just have those in Sea of Thieves. I can't wait.
Why not?
It'll be awesome.
You can banter while you're
exactly
sailing the high
trying to teach
seas.
my mom how to do anything in that game.
Come on, press X. Just use the shovel.
Press X.
Yeah, D-pad.
Alana, are you drunk again? It's in the game.
She wouldn't mind. My mom's very fine with that.
Okay, let's get to some actual news. And the big story this week is the Xbox One X off to a faster than anticipated start, according to both Microsoft and retailers. Microsoft stating in an Xbox Wire blog post, "You, our biggest fans, have pre-ordered more Xbox One X Project Scorpio Edition consoles in the first 5 days than any Xbox ever," which is great.
Wow.
I mean, it's great to see. I don't want to catch crap for this because I don't mean this in a bad way, but I mean that is expected. Like this was always. This is a hardcore device aimed at hardcore people. They were always going to be the ones that jump right on. But the fact that Microsoft is saying that and retailers too, who are they don't have quite as much skin in the game as Microsoft does, to hear people say, hear them say that it's exceeding their expectations is great. I know we were able to, a few of us pre-ordered. You got?
I got mine.
Yeah, Dan got one.
I ordered one for the office.
No, mine's mine.
I'm
really excited for the console.
But I think pretty much everybody that I saw out there that wanted to get one was able to secure a pre-order. So this was
there
not.
must have been quite a few.
Yeah, this was not a Super NES Classic situation.
Can you not get one right now?
No.
The
I haven't really been
Scorpio
keeping
edition's
up with
gone, and Microsoft said, "Hey, we'll have that's it for those. We'll have information on pre-ordering the vanilla Xbox One X, the non-Scorpio
Same as
edition."
like the day one edition of
Exactly.
It doesn't have the
Right.
lettering.
So I
because I can't remember. So I got my PS4 on launch day. Was there a shortage of PS4 and Xbox Ones when they came out?
I think
Not really.
not the Xbox, and I don't even think the PS4.
don't think so.
They had, I think, ample
like
supply.
a Switch situation
but
where
they
I
were
walked.
for the Pro though. Like they had shortages, so it's like
Really?
I think so.
I don't think they manufactured
Initially.
very many Pros. I mean, I guess I don't know.
Which this is probably going to be the same for the
I'm still waiting
It's more
for
of
a
a niche
sale on Pro.
market. So
Yeah, it might
It
be
might
Because
be
it's been a year, right?
Yeah, why
It's been a
not?
year. I'm not going to pay full
It'll-
price.
Yeah.
I mean, I bet I'm sure the price on the Pro will drop
probably.
by $50 within at least the next year.
They're going to
But
compete with the
by
Scorpio.
at least
Yeah.
November 8th.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, but I may very well end up eating crow on the X. I mean, because I wrote an editorial about, hey, who's this thing for? And it's and Microsoft, to their credit, has done a better job of sort of explaining the benefits as time has gone on. We talked about the big one a month or so back of a big question I had was, hey, are third-party developers and publishers going to go the extra mile to take advantage of this thing, or are we basically going to be getting PS4 Pro ports?
Yeah.
And no, the answer is the box has been smartly designed to do a lot of that stuff on its own, which is so great. So
I love it. I love that it's the smallest console. Also,
It's
like that's a
crazy.
huge selling point.
the industrial
internal
design
power
is
supply.
amazing.
Yeah, there's also something very cool about like talking to a developer and just having them be like, well, it's the most powerful console ever made, because they all drop that line because it's such
Right.
nice
Yeah.
PR, but it's like there's still something like very impressive about hearing
Yeah.
that every time. I'm like, damn, I guess it is.
I also just want to give credit for the fact that there's a Project Scorpio edition, because it's like there are so many things like Orbis and Morpheus and stuff like that
Right.
that once we know what it is, like the Nintendo NX, and then now
The
it's
Dolphin.
the Nintendo Switch, and like nobody even remembers it was ever called the NX. Like that's
Yeah.
just a thing of the past, and Microsoft's like, yeah, it's called the Scorpio.
Well, fans really like owned that.
Yeah, they leaned into it for
Yeah.
a year.
It's super
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It is totally cool of them to do that. I wonder if we're going to look back in a year and see not only potentially how wrong I end up being about it, which is fine. I am happy to eat. I would love to eat crow on my. And again, I think people I was never, and I don't think any of us, me included, were ever down on the X. It was just like, I think there was just like, hey, what is the market for this, and that's where the crow eating may happen. But I wonder if history was going to end up showing that maybe Sony ended up a little too early with the PS4 Pro. It's a little underpowered. It hit the year before the year, when 4K TVs were still much more so in their infancy. I feel like, and maybe we'll see what next year brings, but I feel like this year, there are quality 4K TVs for $600, potentially even less depending on what you're looking for. But if Microsoft gets all the hardcore users in the door on an X at $500, and then maybe for next holiday they're able to, with just hardware revision costs, they're able to get it down to $400.
Right.
And 4K TVs really are everywhere, because I don't know. I feel like this fall feels like the tipping point for 4K TVs.
A lot of people are ready to go.
So maybe Microsoft really just nailed, to use the surfer analogy, just nailed this wave perfectly, where you get as many of those hardcore guys that are going to pay, that get the $500 when it's brand new tech, and then and 4K TVs become super common, and the next year the TVs are everywhere, everybody's got one, and they can drop it to $400, and they just nail it. I mean, I feel like that may be what ends up happening, because basically the exact right device at the exact right time is what could end up happening with this. Whereas the Xbox One, the original version of it, was in hindsight not, because the DRM policies out of the gate,
the messaging
sunk
was a
them,
disaster.
and the bundled Connect was obviously they really suffered as a result of that.
Yeah.
And the X is certainly not making either of those mistakes. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next year.
Yeah.
No, you're smirking at me over there, Destin.
I was just thinking about the Microsoft execs and the surfer analogy.
Yeah,
Catching that gnarly wave, bruh.
Phil Spencer
in shorts,
shirtless on a board. Yeah.
He does that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought a 4K TV last year on sale.
Yeah.
And now I see 4K TVs this year cheaper than what I bought it for on sale. Plus, when you go to like Target or whatever, it's like that's like all that's on the wall anymore.
That's true.
Pretty much.
It's
You almost can't buy a 1080p television, right?
like 4K is just kind of like that's what it is now.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so
I'm excited.
the final point was, if you were unable to secure an Xbox One X pre-order and still are looking to get one, it looks like it seems like Microsoft is going to have at some point another burst of standard Xbox One X editions. So just keep your eye on IGN. Yeah. I know our Eric Song, our deals, IGN deals, guru is just right on top of all that stuff. So keep it tuned. I think, what is it? It's at IGN Deals, right? Is the Twitter feed for that?
Yeah.
It's a good thing to keep an eye on.
That sounds right.
So you should still have another shot at the Xbox One X.
And if not, show up at a brick and mortar on the day of.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
probably
sure
a good
there'll
chance you
be
might be
some
able to grab one.
decent quantities, hopefully. All right. Related note, in a move that will surprise absolutely no one, the original Xbox One has been discontinued. Microsoft confirming in a statement, as is typical for the console industry, we stopped manufacturing the original Xbox One back when we introduced the Xbox One S. So they just had kind of never made a public declaration of it, but it became a thing this week, and they went ahead and confirmed it. So I would just like to salute the original Xbox One, because yes, it was much bigger than the PS4. Yeah. But hey, to their credit, they over-engineered it. There was we can look back now.
No red ring of death.
No red ring of death. You just did not hear of hardware problems on any sort of scale at all.
The only box. One was like when you put the disc in, it did the like, and you could like feel it vibrate. And I remember I was like, this is going to be a thing. And then it wasn't a thing. It wasn't super a thing, Yeah.
I'm still on my original, which was absolutely not the case after 4 years with the 360.
Yeah, I'm still on my original.
I have an original.
Mine's day one edition, and it's like almost the size of my PC, but it's still running fine.
It's whisper quiet.
Yeah.
Like it's, maybe if you could criticize the size of it if you wanted to, but no, it absolutely got the job done in a bulletproof way, which is what we want from our $500 devices. Yeah. So kudos to Microsoft. And the nice part is the S, and then of course the X coming up. The S is smaller,
The S is
just
great.
as quiet. So far, just as reliable. It's been out. Gosh, wow! It's been out for a year already.
Yeah.
And the X is right behind it with all the same improvements and advancements and even more stuff. So
I did get to play Forza at Gamescom, and you're like, oh, it's a racing game. How much better can it look? A lot, apparently.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's
crazy.
Sorry.
Can we say that we've potentially seen the end of power bricks on consoles?
I hope
Because
so.
man,
you make a good point, Mark.
that's another thing. Was I remember opening my Xbox One X and I'm like, man, this thing's huge, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, speaking of hardware problems, I have told this story before, but my power brick exploded, and it burned the carpet. And
As
cut off,
they do.
It cut off all of the power in my house.
Oh wow.
Burned the
You blew a
carpet.
fuse, right?
It basically, I don't know exactly
the
what
console,
what
though,
happened.
didn't it?
The console was
right,
fine.
because that's what it's for.
Console
Yeah,
was totally fine,
yeah.
but the power brick itself, like, killed the power in my house, burnt the carpet, and there was like a really bad smoke smell because
That's insane.
I don't really know how that happened. It,
happened, you know,
just
it's-
blew up.
They're not 100% perfect. These
Yeah.
things.
Right.
But
It
yeah,
happens,
'cause
Alana.
You brought
It
it,
was
up.
fine.
You brought it up earlier, Destin, about the internal power supply.
Yeah.
And see, I think I'm with you, Mark. I think now after the S and the X, the bar is great. We can't go back.
I
Yeah,
think
you're right.
they
Cannot go
know.
back.
When the PlayStation 4 was smaller than the Xbox and also had an internal
Yeah.
power supply, I think it was a very obvious thing that
Yes.
that is really where consoles need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when the 1S came out, and it's luckily, see, USBs are pretty universal now. Of course, the C is kind of taken over, but that power cord
Compatible
is
with
also
any
universal.
console.
You can plug
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
you
the
can plug it into
PS4,
anything.
Yeah.
Your PS3 Slim, just not the fat. The
Yep.
Xbox One X, 1S, and all your PS4s.
Yeah.
Except for the PS4 Pro,
Which
They-
has
yeah.
a PC
they
plug.
went with a PC plug.
Oh, really?
So that sucks.
Interesting.
Still,
Just
no.
hashtag
At
Mark
least
Medina
they
problem.
didn't go with a power brick.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's just got a different port.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you though. I think the Sony has certainly I don't know. I guess that seems like Sony does whatever with power cords, but
Yeah.
I feel like Microsoft is now we're too spoiled. We can never go back.
Yeah.
Whatever the successor to the X is, like the next generation Xbox, has got to have an
Yeah,
internal
totally
power
right.
supply.
And yeah, for sure.
Okay. Game of Thrones, of course, the TV show just ended, season 7.
Man, that part when. No.
Cute. Direct your hate mail to @SNL on Twitter. The second season of Telltale's Game of Thrones adventure series, not happening anytime soon.
No.
Job Stauffer, the internal head of communication there, saying, quote, "Not long after the conclusion of the first season, we said we'd be continuing, and we had designs on the future of Telltale's Game of Thrones. Right now, that is on hold. We're anxious to get back into The Wolf Among Us, Walking Dead, and Batman and see where things go with the narrative of the Game of Thrones TV show before we really come back to the table with something we're excited about."
Didn't they also launch Guardians of the Galaxy recently too?
Yes.
I think they're still working on it. I don't
Okay.
think that's over. I think it's on episode 3 or 4.
Gotcha.
I think you're right. But yeah, they have so many irons in the fire. Something's got to give, right?
Here's what I
It's
think
also
people.
one of their least successful series, I think.
Really?
Is it?
Yeah, at least talked about.
Yeah. What, Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Oh, for
For
Telltale.
Telltale.
Yeah. Here's what I think people I think are gonna say, and I think they're wrong,
Hmm.
is that we had that Target leak over the last weekend where it was Bethesda Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are gonna think, well, if Telltale's publicly saying that they have no Game of Thrones thing, I think it's to make rooms for the I don't think that's the case though. So
No, I don't think so either. They're focusing on the properties that sell the most, would be my guess. And
yep.
yeah, I think the hype right now is for Wolf, so it makes sense.
And my take on it, it's similar to that is just building on what you said, is I think the business, it's probably a much more expensive. Like I bet Game of Thrones isn't as profitable for them, even though it's based off of this, the most popular TV show in the world, because I'm guessing their costs are higher. Any retail and all the money, I'm sure they have to split to a larger extent with HBO and or George R.R. Martin than they do with I don't know the name of the comic or the artist that does Wolf Among Us or
Dead, yeah.
or
not sure.
Robert Kirkman with
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead. Like
Well, it's
I'm
also
sure
that they have to stick to a canon.
That too.
which they don't for any of the other series. So
Yeah, so George needs to come in and be like, yeah, okay.
Right. The story. I'm sure
which
they
would
have
be
story approval.
really hard, and because of that, they're sticking with side characters that people don't know or aren't invested in, so they don't really get the marketing backing of Game of Thrones. Like, I don't know, this makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's. I actually ended up bailing out of the Game of Thrones Telltale series after, and not even bailing. I just kind of. I don't know. It didn't hold my interest, and I think I got through because I think it's 6 episodes. If I remember right.
Episode 1.
I did. I think 4 or 5. I had like 1 or 2 left to go, and I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, it just did. I think a big part of it for me, actually, I'm remembering this better now. Telltale's engine gets criticized for a lot of reasons, but this isn't specific to that. I just feel like what I'm going to say is the Game of Thrones art style and the way they've tried. They had to adapt. You've got the visual look of the Game of Thrones TV show, not really compatible with the Telltale engine. They tried to make it like a watercolor painting thing. Yeah. And I don't know, there's something about playing it where it just doesn't have the production value that the show does. There's not the sweeping music and all. It just something about it visually and the presentation of it just never quite sat right with me.
That art style just lends so well to like Borderlands and
Tales from the Borderlands. That's probably their best looking
game
because of that, for that reason, right? Yeah, like that happened to them. Telltale's last game before Walking Dead, so before the studio took off and became huge.
Jurassic Park?
Yes, which same thing. Jurassic Park is a huge film franchise, and it has a obviously super realistic, a live action aesthetic, and it just did not work as art direction wise in the Telltale engine.
I thought Back to the Future looked okay,
but they cartoonized it.
Oh yeah,
it's not a word.
Definitely.
Cartoonified?
Thank you. That's better. I like that better. Yeah, you're right.
I would agree with the creative freedom thing. Like the fact that they're able to take a Batman license and literally just kind of do whatever they want.
That one.
And they really do, and I love it.
Yeah, I think it's working, and people look how fast Batman season 2 is already, here. And so I think them being able to do what they want to do is what works.
Yeah. Well, Batman already has so many artistic interpretations that
seeing it doesn't look weird.
Right. There's almost no wrong interpretation of it.
Batman comics are the only comics that I keep up to date with, and even that is just like, oh, we started a new storyline again, huh? All right. It just happens all the time.
Well, and then even the voice acting, it's like, here's Peter Dinklage, but not really.
That is really hard.
And you're like, It reminds me of playing movie license games. I remember playing Star Wars games on PlayStation 2, and it's like, here's Hayden Christensen, or at least a guy that sounds like him.
Yeah,
they did get a lot of the actors
for what
in the game Telltale Game of Thrones.
Right. So I'm wondering,
Ramsey and I don't know. It's been too long now. I forget.
Also, without spoiling the show, I want to say that when they did the Game of Thrones season 1, I felt like there was more characters to work with. And I feel like if they're staying to where they need to stay now.
Are you saying people die in Game of Thrones?
Some people are dead. And they don't have so much to work with now. And I don't
I feel spoilers.
I feel like if you're watching the show, you don't want to go back to, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, especially when you know which characters die.
Exactly.
Yeah, very true.
And 1 or 2 of them die, Ryan. I'm telling you.
Multiple.
I did see a person die on that show.
It's just one single death. The entire 7 seasons.
Wow. They really.
My wife covered my eyes, so I didn't have to see it.
Yeah. And it was like a death by sleep. It was like someone died of old age.
She went peacefully.
Then everyone was. They had
it's like the end of Titanic. It's like, did she die?
I love that Mark slips the.
I am going to bring Titanic up in every single podcast. Titanic spoilers, guys, for a movie that is 22 years old.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
No.
It came out in 96. Let's do some math.
Was it 96?
It did. So 96.
Good Lord, that's 21 years.
21 years,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
My mind's
not even close.
My mind's already in
it?
2018.
Hold on.
Not even close.
What year did the Titanic movie come out? 97.
Damn it, Siri, don't sass me.
97.
97?
20 years.
So
the 20th anniversary, Mark,
Oh, yeah, nice work.
of the movie about all those people who died on a boat.
No, the 20th anniversary is when it came out in 3D. on my birthday, April 4th.
Anyway,
Happy birthday.
moving on to the ESRB description for South Park.
Yeah, I wanted-
We just spent so long
What if
talking about
Telltale made a
Telltale's
Titanic
Game
game?
of Thrones and then Titanic, which are things that people do not care about.
Yeah, I wanted to do a dramatic reading of this. We haven't.
Oh, okay.
We haven't done a dramatic reading in a long, long time.
Okay.
And the people have enjoyed those in the past. 'Cause
All right.
this is
Buckle
the-
up, children.
This is the actual ESRB description for the content.
Wow, I'm excited. Based on this, I'm excited to see how you really get through the end of this one.
Yeah.
How's this gonna go?
How is this gonna go?
It's gonna get real racist in here.
This is a role-playing game based on the animated South Park TV show in which players assume the role of a new kid in town embarking on an adventure to uncover an evil criminal element. Players engage in turn-based combat by moving around a grid and selecting attacks from a menu. Players use various weapons, e.g. blades, claws, blasts of energy, ice, lightning, and melee attacks during combat. Blood splatter effects occur often, and cutscenes occasionally depict, quote, cartoony dismemberment or decapitation. The game includes several instances of mature humor, racial humor, and sexual material.
This is happening right now.
Yeah, I'm loving
Buckle
it.
up.
I'm in. This is awesome.
Characters.
Oh,
are
here we go. Characters are depicted urinating and defecating. One extended sequence, parentheses, in a strip club, depicts a character performing a lap dance while emitting flatulence. One scene depicts a towel character performing an obscured sex act on a man in an alley.
Don't forget to bring a towel.
Bring it to hell.
Want to get high?
This feels so good right now. Should have done the whole thing as Towley. Another shows a man watching security monitors and repeatedly reaching for lubrication behind his desk. All sequences depicted in a cartoony and over-the-top manner. Characters are sometimes depicted nude, e.g. breasts, buttocks, male genitalia. During the course of the game, players can observe characters snorting lines.
Want to get high?
So good. I love this game so much. Can we give the ESRB description the Game of the Year award right now? Players can observe characters snorting lines of cocaine, and in one level, players must complete a quest to bring in a marijuana prescription to a character. The words F***K,
There we go.
C**NT, and SH*T, and racial epithets, which I'm not even going to go near, are heard in the dialogue. And that concludes your dramatic reading
Very good.
of the ESRB description.
I did not even know
South
you
Park.
had that in you.
Fractured
That is-
butthole.
That was amazing.
So I've played the lap dance.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
Sequence.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, people
It's
were like
real
very
dirty.
people were really uncomfortable with it because it was the idea that a kid was giving a character a lap dance, and he was, and then the character is like, I think people misinterpreted it. Basically, you're doing that, and the person you're doing it to is disgusted and hates it, and is like, can you not? This is really gross. Rather than being like, yes, child, continue doing this to me. So it was like, it's still disgusting because it's South Park, but I don't think anything is too far, you know?
If I don't know how they're going to top the grossest scenes from The Stick of Truth, because
Yeah.
that game goes so far past the television show.
There's a boss fight.
It's up its own.
During
song.
a sex scene.
Yeah, during exactly.
That one was good.
that
Gosh,
game's
man.
so good.
Yeah.
I'm really
When they
excited.
go,
for
when
this
they go to
come out.
Canada, man, I'm gonna be so disappointed.
no,
Don't spoil it.
If I ever go to, I'm just gonna be so disappointed.
We've been
if I ever
working
go
on
to
a
Canada.
top 100 moments of video games list recently, and that was one of the ones that I was like, that has to be on the list. It's just
Yeah,
going to
for sure.
Canada, like
For
it has
sure.
to be.
For sure.
For sure.
So great.
Oh my goodness.
So
All
it's
right.
it's
What a game.
M-rated though, right? That's the story.
Yeah.
So I was saying to you before that means something completely different in Australia. M-rated is just like that's what Halo's rated. It just means mature. So anyone
Same
can buy
here.
an M-rated game.
Yeah, we don't have any strict
Laws.
rules or laws in
Right.
place here. There was a push like
Wait, what are we talking about? Strict laws for what?
ESRB like buying
Ratings.
M-rated games.
I mean, they do at retail stores. Like if I used to work at Target, and if you scan an M-rated game, it does.
Oh, it
pop
does.
to do an ID.
does.
I guess I
Yeah.
just haven't.
And like, there's no way to override.
The
it.
last
They have
time
to
I was
buy it.
underage was long before all
Right.
this stuff was in place.
In Australia, it's MA15 plus, so we have M, which is just like a slightly above general. Like anyone can get an M-rated game, so I guess that didn't mean anything to me. But if it means it's restricted, then it makes.
It makes me wonder: is is it a retail thing? Do you think?
What do you mean?
Like, so you're saying that no matter what a game is rated in Australia, anybody can buy it?
It's probably like
No,
a
the
target
opposite.
policy thing.
I don't understand what you're saying right now.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, so like Target requires that if you're not 17, you have to use your ID.
No, I
Do you
believe that's
think
a law.
Oh, it is a law.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I've
Yeah.
never worked at GameStop.
Yeah, I worked there for 4 years, but obviously in Australia. But it was for
You worked
our-
at Target in Australia?
No, GameStop,
Oh.
EB Games. But for
We were about to become best friends.
for the MA15 plus, you automatically had to check ID, and then for R18, you had to check ID as well, so you couldn't do it
Gotcha.
otherwise.
Anyway, if it's anything like the Stick of Truth, I don't want to get too dad
like
on
it's
you
gonna
guys.
be
but
worse.
Yeah.
Please don't let your kids play that game unless
Just
you
censored,
know
it
what's
was
in it.
censored in Australia too.
This ESRB description is totally Matt and Trey's continued efforts to F with the ESRB
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
any rating
Well,
system.
okay, the stuff that was censored in Australia, they replaced it with an image of a koala crying, a didgeridoo, in the background,
right.
and then it would be like, Australia, we don't know what to tell you. Like, you can't see this content because the government sucks. Like,
That's
I
right.
think-
There was a whole sequence.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
honestly
I remember.
the
Like, we're sorry.
did a story on it on
but
IGN.
I forgot,
the censored
yeah.
stuff was actually way funnier than the stuff it censored. Like, I think that was 10 times funnier than the content it was censoring. Like, it was
Yeah.
awesome.
What's,
it dealt with it so well.
Matt and Trey had told the story years and years ago about how dealing with the
MP.
MPAA,
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you, with the movie,
Yeah.
with bigger, longer, and uncut, and the MPAA is so full of like out of touch old people, probably old men,
Yeah.
that they didn't even get that bigger, longer, and uncut is a penis reference.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never got that either.
No. You
I've
kidding?
never heard of that. I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's a dick joke.
That's really good.
Oh man,
It's really good. Isn't the show produced where basically they just like that way nobody can censor it? They like make it not the day of,
hours.
but like they deliver it hours before it's supposed to air.
Well, that's-
and
I
they're
I don't
like,
think
hey,
that's because of censorship. That's
exactly.
to stay
That's
relevant.
Yeah.
That's just their
that's just how they
workflow.
do it.
Yeah, it's so that they're always on top of news, basically. Like a
Oh yeah.
reactionary
Oh
show.
yeah. Because then you can.
If you like South Park, like which I love South Park, I've
Yeah.
literally
My
seen
favorite
every.
show.
Me too. You have to watch 6 Days to Air.
Yeah.
It's a documentary that was made about the
It was on
making
Comedy
of-
Central.
It was,
Yeah.
and hopefully it's still. I don't know if it's on YouTube.
They
They
on
aired
DVD
it again
and
once in a while on Comedy Central. I think you can watch it online though.
Yeah,
Like
it's
on the
it's
website.
really good. It's it's a documentary of them making an episode and
that's
like
awesome.
the insane process that they put
Yeah.
themselves through every
Sometimes
single
if there's a
time.
news update, they have to kind of rewrite an episode because they're like, oh, well, this updated and now our content is out of date. Like, it's crazy
Oh
stuff.
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Like,
actually behind
I
with
love
new
South
episodes,
Park.
actually.
Got to get caught up.
But I always tell people that like it was kind of like studying for a test, which was I wanted to be like I'd really never watched it, and so me and my wife watched 16 because that's what there was at the time, was 16 seasons.
binged it.
Wow. In a row, like just binged it. Took like a month or whatever,
Yeah.
and I remember nothing from it. Like I don't remember
just too
any
much.
episodes.
I
You don't
Going
remember Eric feeding that kid his parents or the taco that poops ice cream?
So like you
made you eat
obviously
your
remember
parent.
like little things like him getting a theme park and stuff like that, but it's like
Casa Bonita.
it's
feel
just
like
like
I remember
it's
the songs
really
that
really
that
well.
wasn't the theme park.
It's the R. Kelly one. It's like, now
Well, that was
I'm
the
in
episode.
closet. Now I'm in the closet too.
Casa Bonita. That's the restaurant.
Bonita.
No, it's when he gets all that money and he buys a theme park, but then
has
doesn't
to
want
run
to like have to have people run it. He wants to just be able
By
to ride the
himself,
ride. But then
yeah.
he realizes that it's like, oh, the rides broke down and I have to hire people and oh man, I need money coming in, and so he has to let people. It's stupid.
It's a good show.
Oh man, the World of Warcraft episode talking about WoW.
That's
Definitely.
That was
a
the
lot of
only
favorite.
episode I had ever seen.
bathroom.
So good. That was the only episode I had ever seen.
I'm
Was
not an
that episode.
artard.
Oh man.
What a
Randy
show.
Marsh is one of my favorite.
What a
characters
show.
in anything else.
Oh, yeah.
And Wendy.
Oh, spooky ghost. Okay.
Wendy, because she's the
Ectoplasm.
only sane person in the whole town.
She really is the only smart one. Yeah.
Mark
Yes,
Medina.
sir.
We love having you. You don't get to be here. You're a special
But
treat.
get out.
No, don't get out. I want you to take, if Alana will allow it, take the marketplace report this week.
You got it, dude.
My name is in what it is.
That's true. Mark.
The mark.
The marketplace.
It's
Oh,
not
now
the-
you have to come on every week.
It's not the Alana place report.
No, it's a good point. Yeah, he's got me there.
All right, here we go. Retail, nothing this week.
Buckle up,
paper-
though. It's
that's
coming.
what the paper
Winter is
says.
coming.
Yeah, I know, right? Jeez. Digital. Ark Survival Evolved. Hasn't this game come out 30 times?
Like we talked about, it's been in game preview for about 2 years on
Oh, I
Xbox.
see.
Yeah, I'm gonna be playing it next week, so hopefully we can talk about it.
Yeah, we do have a review being worked on.
Yep.
Sweet.
For IGN for that.
Recore Definitive Edition. Is this the one they talked about at Gamescom?
Yep.
It's already out.
Yeah.
Will all be. Surf World Series. Feral Fury.
Speaking of
The Metronomicon.
Slay the dance floor.
I think I might have
Slay
typed
the
that wrong.
dance floor.
I believe it's
Isn't it the
Metronomicon?
Metronomicon.
Yeah,
I think I can
I don't think I can type fake words.
Metronomicon.
Slay the dance floor. X-Morph Defense. Eterno Blade. Okay. Readout.
Read out.
Light
That one was
Mark,
easy,
you're not
Mark.
doing a great job
I
here.
hate these games.
No one should be allowed to name video games.
Killing Floor 2.
That's bad.
Nailed it.
That's
Dead
fine.
Alliance.
Also good.
Resident Evil Revelations. Rock of Ages 2. Bigger and bolder.
But
Not a
Boulder,
Boulder,
Boul.
Boulder as in a rock.
I'll allow it.
And then we got the August Games with Gold. Slime Rancher.
You have like literally 1 day, but figured we might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well
Slime Rancher. Grab it. Ends on the 31st, tomorrow. Trials Fusion. Great game.
I think I missed Bayonetta, right?
Your last chance.
August 16th to September 15th. Bayonetta's gone.
Missed that.
And Red Faction Armageddon, which is August 16th through the 31st. So that's already almost gone too.
Yes.
September Games with Gold. Forza Motorsport 5. Let's talk about this. Do you guys say Forza or Forza?
I say Forza, but it is
You say
it is
Forza.
Forza.
Yeah.
Forza.
Forza.
The T's.
You don't say
It-
pizza. Pizza.
Pizza.
Forza.
But I say
Forza.
Forza, but they don't really care.
Forza Motorsport 5 Racing Game of the Year Edition. Let's see.
Hey,
here.
Forza,
It's like
why not?
Grazie doesn't have a T in it, which I found out after tweeting that.
This is obviously strategically done to get people hyped up to want to buy Motorsport 7.
Yeah.
Smart move on Microsoft's part.
And
And that's all of September, so it starts the
Yes.
1st. Oxenfree,
great game.
September 16th to October 15th.
That is the highlight of this month's Games with Gold.
Really,
in my
really like that
opinion.
game.
So good.
Hydro Thunder Hurricane.
What do you mean a Hydro Thunder Hurricane isn't the highlight?
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you have
I'm
against
not speaking
Hur-
ill of
Hydro Thunder is actually kind of
Also,
fun.
can we
It's
talk
good.
about how it's
Yeah.
kind of bad timing to release a hurricane game?
Well, I mean, they couldn't have.
I hope
Yeah.
everyone who is in Texas is okay.
It's
Hope you're all.
I have a lot of
doing
friends
all right.
there. I've been
Me too.
asking, just like, are you guys okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hectic and it's awful, and I hope everyone's doing good.
This is it's a Wave Race, like spiritual successor to Wave Race.
Mm-hmm.
Came
Yeah.
out, I believe it
Speedboat.
was a live arcade game,
Yep.
if I remember correctly, towards the end of the 360 life cycle. This is very good, as I recall.
And then finally, Battlefield 3.
Oh, it's free, so sure, but
All right.
boy, that's going back a couple of
Yeah.
Battlefields. It's just-
Yeah.
Weird.
There's been 4 hardline and
One.
1. Thank you.
Wow.
People are going to be like, what? Battlefield 1 is
That
out,
said
and now
4
Battlefield
Battlefields ago.
3 is
Battlefield
already
3 is still really good.
Campaign's not.
I miss Bad
Multiplayer's
Company.
nice.
I just want Bad Company.
A lot of people want Bad Company.
Bad Company 3.
What if that's the next one?
That'd be cool. Probably not though.
Could happen.
Yeah.
Why not?
Battlefield
And that is
Company
it.
bad. No, I don't know.
Good stuff.
They need to change
for
that.
the Alana Ed place.
Thank you.
Moving on.
Awesome. Unlock block trivia. Let's see if. So we've got no Marty. He's off to PAX.
He died.
Or he's dead.
Yes.
Destin was
have a
dead last week. That's why I
ha-
sat over there last week.
I have a chance.
But he's
Yeah.
revived. and now
So
I'm over
you
here.
are now down.
Marty's been on a
You're down
roll.
5 points, and
Damn.
we are into. We're going to be into
Do
September.
you guys think
here.
Marty's cheating?
Yes.
What if
Yeah,
he's cheating?
he's
100%.
He's paying me off to give him the answers ahead of the show.
Well, but what if he just like takes the sheet and then like Googles it? You know, just sitting here. He's just
That's
like,
true.
Oh, I'm
You do
texting.
hand these out and then let me
Maybe.
sit at my computer.
You know what?
Destin cheated 2 years ago, though.
No, I didn't.
What? Oh, I'm glad there's a whole table separating.
No, it's
you
about
guys right now.
Mitch.
Yeah, I know.
He cheated.
No, Mitch gave it away. That's what happened.
Anyway, I'm hoping this is a layup for you, Destin. I want you to get back in the game here. You've got 3
I was super
or
confident.
4
but-
4 months to go. You're down 5 points. It's not insurmountable, but it's starting to get grim if you
Yeah.
don't pick up the pace here soon. So our question comes to us from Ricky Webb, and he
Ricky.
asks, which Xbox Live Arcade game for 360, was the first to be certified. He notes that Greg Canessa, when he was on Unfiltered with me, we talked about this, which is great. I don't even remember this, so I'm glad Ricky does. But you can. There are different ways you can try to deduce this. This is not an impossible question. So, which 360 live arcade game was the first to be certified? Meaning, it was signed off, it was done, it was ready for public consumption. Was it Bejeweled 2, Bankshot Billiards 2, Hexic HD, or Geometry Wars Retro Evolved? Some or all of these are launch games. Those are clues. Some, there's different ways you can approach this. I'm actually going to go down to this end of the table first to Mark Medina. Any idea here, Mark?
Well, thought about this a lot, Ryan. You got 4 answers here. When I was born, I was less than one. I lived in Kansas. Okay. And when I was 2 and 3, I lived in California.
I'm on this walk with you right now.
When I was 4, I lived in Iowa.
All right.
So I'm going with 2. Bankshot Billiards.
That was so not worth it.
All right.
Not everything is. Sometimes it is what it is.
It's the journey, not the destination, right?
Exactly.
Alana, what do you think?
I have absolutely no idea. This is shot in the dark. 1, Bejeweled 2.
Okay. Destin, any idea here?
All right, so I'm nervous.
I know this one, and I'll explain why.
All right.
We'll see what Destin says.
2 games I loved on this list.
Yeah.
Hexic HD and Geometry Wars Evolved.
Okay.
I've told the story on the show. I won my Xbox, right? And
Yes.
through the Mountain Dew thing that was going on at the time.
G Fuel.
And I was super stoked. However, when I got it, I could only play 1 game because it was the only one that you could get, and that was Hexic HD. At least that's how I remember it. So I'm going to go with Hexic HD, but I'm really worried it's Bejeweled 2 because that's a game I probably would have disregarded because I wanted something more unique. I'm going to go 3 Hexic HD.
Okay.
I really need this point.
All right, so Geometry Wars Retro Evolved launch game. It was on Project Gotham Racing 3.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It was fantastic. Bankshot Billiards 2, definitely not a launch game. They've tried to peddle that off on us for the first 13 months of games with gold. Bejeweled 2, I actually don't remember if that was a day 1 game on Live Arcade for the 360. Hexic HD was the pre-installed bundle included game on the hard drive if you bought the premium edition, the hard drive edition of the 360. Because it was pre-installed on the hard drives, it had to be certified way sooner because those, as part of manufacturing. So yes, Destiny is Hexic.
Watch
HD.
out, Marty.
Who definitely does not listen to this show.
No.
Maybe he heard me shouting.
He's in Seattle.
He's
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Destin,
I just
narrowing
want
the
to
game.
yell.
You're in the game, back in the game. I like this.
I'm not that far.
Marty.
I was only 1 more.
What if Alana comes
You're still in it too. I mean,
Well, I'm
again,
not. I'm technically not traveling anymore.
Great. So 5 points, not insurmountable.
I can do it.
You know what? Please pass Destin, because then that'll really make him mad if he's behind 2 of you. It'd be great.
What do I got to do to pass Destin?
not gonna happen.
Be on every show for the rest of the year, get them all right, and
We all get
so everyone else's
and Destin
mouth.
gets them all wrong.
Amanda and Phil also have 1 each.
Yes. Yeah.
Phil, can I have your points?
He gave it to me.
It's already happened. All right, so if you would like to try and stump the panel here with your Xbox trivia question, please send that trivia question, include 4 multiple choice answers, note the correct one in your email, and send it to unlocked@ign.com.
Before we roll out of the show, we have a bunch of panels at PAX. IGN has 3 panels. We've been tweeting out images of those, so I don't fortunately know them off by heart, but we have one that is ranking the top 10 best Nintendo games ever, which I think is going to be really fun. We're letting the audience come in.
Nice.
One of them's an IGN AMA, so you can come and ask. The last one we did was mostly people asking how to get a job, but we can give really diverse answers to that for all of the different fields we have at IGN. And then the other one is video games are stupid and we love them, which is basically us just talking about the dumbest decisions in games, but in a lighthearted way. And we did that at a previous PAX, and it's my favorite panel I've ever been on. So come see all of those. We also have a BioShock party on the Saturday night, which is celebrating the 10-year anniversary of BioShock, and people are going to be dressed up. It's themed like Rapture. I'm expecting that to be super
that'll be
cool.
good.
So come check out all of those.
Are you going to do Big Daddy or Little Sister?
They were like, hey, we're having a cosplay competition, and they launched it a week ago. You're like, you think I could make a Big Daddy in a week? That's gonna to take 6 months. Like, no.
So, okay.
So no.
But we will have a kind of like masquerade masks, I think, that they're giving away for the splices and stuff. So
Nice.
it should be really fun. Yeah, there's a whole lot of us going, and yeah, we'll be hanging out. So
I would suspect that panel information maybe, I think we have a try IGN.com/PAX and see what
Probably,
happens.
yeah.
If not, just keep an eye on the IGN Twitter feed.
I know if you
I'll
like
tweet it out.
Google like
Naughty's tweeted
IGN
it out.
how to watch PAX, like, or what is this, PAX West, right?
yeah.
Like, I'm
I
sure.
can probably just pull up the image really.
Yeah, while we're doing plugs, I'll tell you, IGN Prime is a nice way to support IGN as well as make an ad-free IGN experience for yourself. It's $30 for 1 year membership there. Go to IGN.com/Prime if you're interested in that. You can follow me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. The thing I would love for you to check out is the August edition of IGN Unfiltered. It just went up this week. And Randy Pitchford, the CEO and co-founder of Gearbox, came in. And I have to tell you, I had a ton of questions, way more than I have for most developers, only because going through Randy's history, the guy's done a ton of stuff. He got started as a level designer at 3D Realms on Duke Nukem 3D, all the way up through. A lot of people don't remember that Gearbox got their start long before Borderlands or even Brothers in Arms. They did 2 official Half-Life expansion packs.
Yep.
They did Halo for PC.
I know that
So we covered all that ground so much that after an hour and a half, we only got halfway through my questions, and
damn.
we had to go. Like, we had to cut it off. He was so nice. He flew back here a week later for the rest of the interview. So this month's episode, the August episode of Unfiltered with Randy, is basically covers up to, we get to Duke Nukem Forever and talk a little bit of Duke Nukem Forever, and then Aliens and Battleborn and some of the newer stuff.
Oh, he talks aliens. That's cool.
Oh yeah, no, he did not shy away. That's in the September episode that'll air next month. So whether YouTube, I'll be uploading it to iTunes possibly by the time you hear this. Would love for you to check out Unfiltered. It's sort of my little passion project around here. So
Randy Pitchford gets 2 episodes.
He does. He talked a lot, but he had a ton of great stories and things to say. So
Did he do magic tricks?
not for me, but he probably would have if I'd asked. I didn't have another. We did 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was a lot. Destin.
Yeah.
What are you up to? I know I'm going to guess it with Destiny 2's release next week that a lot of it involves Destiny.
That's correct. The Destiny 2 review is right around the corner. September 6th, the game launches. We will not have a review that day. We're going to do a review in progress. You're going to be able to see my initial impressions on the 5th, and then we're going to continue doing coverage throughout. We have a live stream at launch time, and then we have just a ton of Destiny content scheduled for the game's release.
You are, I suspect, because I know with Destiny 1, Vince ended up doing the actual review for IGN, and we didn't put the final review score on it until after he'd played the raid.
Yeah, I would like to wait until I've completed the raid to finalize the score. We're kind of deciding when I should score it, tentatively versus final.
Right. Yeah, I suspect you'll have some sort of, I mean, if there's not a number, you're going to have impressions from on either day 1 or maybe day 2 at the worst, I would suspect, right?
Yeah, so I can't.
What, different embargo stuff going on?
Yeah, there's some embargoed stuff for the 5th that you're going to be able to read about.
Gotcha.
And you'll read more then.
Excellent. Alana?
Panels.
Yes.
Saturday, September 2nd at 7:30. Video games are done. We love them for that. Sunday, September 3rd at 2 p.m. where IGN Ask Us Anything. And at 7:30 p.m., NBC Let's Rank the top 10 Nintendo games of all time. I'm flying to PAX tomorrow. I will be there. There is an Xbox event tomorrow afternoon, so that will be the first thing that we hit.
Great.
That's exciting.
That's an ID at Xbox event.
Yep. And
Cuphead's there.
Cuphead should be there.
Get even more Cuphead before we finally get the final game.
I also wrote some previews at Gamescom that are up right now, and am starting to produce more actually regular Let's Plays for the Unlocked channel.
Fantastic.
Should be one up every single week, and I've planned them out literally until the end of the year. So
when do I get to be on one?
Never.
Take that, Medina.
No marks allowed. We have a strict no mark policy.
It's fine. Yeah. It's not
Marco
Plays.
Blanca.
It's Let's Plays, hosted by Let's.
It's back to Mark. Marketplace is back.
Mark Medina, what are you up to? Where can we find you? Because you're an incredible human. And
You can follow me on Twitter at Mark_Medina. Working on kind of smaller stuff, only because it's like Destiny 2 is right around the corner, and so I'll kind of get pulled into that as well. I work on the IGN show a lot, so watch that.
Yeah, airing now.
Yeah, airing now.
The second half of the first season, right?
Our last shoot is this weekend.
The times changed. It used to be what 9:30, and now
it was
it's like
9:30
11:30.
and then 9 and then 11. They're basically just like shuffling around all the different shows so they all get airtime effectively, which I think is kind of cool.
We're like closing out the block now, so that's
We're the
that's
closer.
Yeah,
Right, you bring in the closer. That's
Closer.
IGN.
So that's what fills most of my days is stuff that you would see in the middle of the night, and then the next day on IGN.
It's gonna be nice to have the whole crew back together.
It'll
Yeah.
be weird
mean,
to not see IGN show on my Trello anymore.
Making that show was intense. Like everyone who's worked on it has been like,
it's fun.
Yeah.
It's different to be like, I don't know. I guess working on like the internet for so long, you make something and then you see it go up, and I forget most of the stuff I do because it just like lives in a TV show
instant.
that
Right.
I don't see because I'm not up that late. I eat supper.
Early to bed, early to
6:30.
rise.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not a dinner man. You're a supper man.
I eat supper.
Supper man.
I fix it at 6. Not even home at 6:30. We have to commute.
Oh, you're the best, Mark. Thank you
Thanks,
for being
Ryan.
here. You're always so enthusiastic. I'm like, Marty can't be here. Mark, you want to be on? You're like, yes, sir. You are.
Yeah.
Off.
Chloe Rad wanted to go to lunch, and I had to do this instead. So,
Oh, you want to lay the guilt trip on?
how's that make you feel right
oh,
now?
Chloe,
Guilty.
is she eating lunch by herself?
Yeah.
Well,
You're just sitting by that
make me
plant
feel
lunchroom.
She was gonna eat whatever. She's like eating a cup of noodles. It's not even warmed up.
They're still hard.
Aw.
Like they're not even cooked.
Oh, Chloe.
I'm sure she had an amazing lunch with other friends at IGN and didn't think about you at all, Mark.
Yeah.
Wow. Can't be on Let's Plays. Nobody wants to go to lunch with me.
Not anymore.
You're throwing people under the lunch.
I'm sorry.
That's
The
what's going
worst.
For being so mean.
I'm just the worst.
Sorry.
All right.
You're doing great.
on. Let's get out of here, shall we? We're wasting our audience's time with our just pointless banter.
Don't forget to
Mark
bring a
Medina,
towel.
love you. You're awesome. Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being here.
I love you
Alana,
too.
Great to see you. Glad you're going to be back for a while.
Thank
Now-
you. I was gonna be like, want to get high, but then you said something genuine. And I'm like, oh,
Don't forget to bring it to
don't forget to bring a towel.
Oh, we could harmonize. Let's write a song parody of something.
Ooh.
All right.
Good.
Yeah.
What's whatever Taylor Swift's new song is? Let's
I
find it.
actually wrote a parody song for Fable TLC.
Oh yeah. Don't go
It's-
chasing what?
No,
What are we doing?
Chasing
it's
lemons.
the chorus was like,
Chickens.
"Yes, I've got some potions. Yes, I've got some food. My combat multiplier is higher than the moon." Because you know the guy in that. I don't know why I remember that so well. The guildmaster is always like, "Do you have some potions or food? Or try to get your combat multiplier even higher." So that was the chorus of the song. Yes, I've got some potions. Yes, I've got
Pretty
some food. My combat multiplier is higher than the moon.
The Taylor Swift song is called "Look What You Made Me Do." Just for the comments.
Okay.
That song's
You're up on your
not great.
T.
You don't like it?
Not
T
really.
Swift.
I think it's like she's not self-aware of anyway, we could
Of course.
We'll just
we can't
segue
talk about
straight into
Taylor
the.
Swift without
Okay.
Marty here. He would be very mad.
That's true.
Not
that
a
is
joke. He really likes Taylor Swift.
Anyway, you're the best.
Thank you.
Good to have you back, Destin. Good to have you back as well.
Thank you.
You're not
Good
the
to be
best,
back.
is what he's leaving out.
I'll take second best.
Second banana, Destin Legary. Thanks everybody. We will see you next week if they haven't fired us all after this podcast.